Welcome to my study skills video on exam writing strategies. My name is Alison Parry and I am the Capilano University Learning Specialist. While being adequately prepared for an exam is essential, knowing how to approach an exam and tackle different types of exam questions will also help you to maximize your marks. This video will look at a variety of exam writing strategies that will help you to stay cool, show what you know, and tackle common types of exam questions. The most common type of exam questions include multiple choice and questions that require a written response. The first key to doing well on exam day is getting enough sleep. Research shows that the stage of sleep that helps consolidate learning the most is REM sleep. As can be seen from this chart, people on average go through 4 phases of REM sleep a night. Consequently, to do well on an exam, rather than staying up all night cramming, you should try to optimize your REM sleep by getting a full night's rest. In order to ensure you can sleep once you get to bed, stop studying at least an hour before bedtime and do something that is relaxing, such as having a hot bath or watching television. As well as getting enough sleep, you'll also need to manage your anxiety in order to be able to think clearly, retrieve what you know, and perform optimally in an exam. It's important to remember that feeling nervous before an exam is both normal and necessary. This is just your brain giving you the extra energy and adrenaline you need to be able to function at a difficult time. The challenge is knowing how to manage your anxiety so it doesn't manage you. While managing your anxiety is important, there is no right way to do this. What works for some people may not work for others. However, in addition to getting enough sleep, here are a few other strategies that seem to work for most people. First, try to exercise before your exam. Exercising will release your pent-up anxiety, will increase your blood flow, and will release lots of positive endorphins into your brain. Even a short walk before an exam is better than sitting around drinking coffee. Second, say positive things to yourself like, "I will be fine, I have prepared well, I'm excited to show what I know." Saying negative things will just increase your anxiety and lower your performance. Third, avoid talking to classmates right before the exam. They can quickly convince you that you've studied all the wrong material, making you feel nervous and unsure of yourself. Finally, try staying relaxed by breathing deeply and/or by meditating. The idea is to clear your mind of worrying thoughts and focus only on your breathing. To breathe deeply, simply sit somewhere quiet. Breathe in through your nose to a slow count of 3. Hold that breath for another slow count of 3, and then slowly breathe out through your mouth for another count of 3. This ensures that you have enough oxygen in your blood supply and stops you from feeling lightheaded. A good time to engage in deep breathing is at the start of the exam when your anxiety is likely the highest. You can also help lower your anxiety at this time by previewing the exam before you start answering the questions. First, look your exam over to familiarize yourself with what you will need to do in the time frame given. Then, estimate how much time you wish to budget for each section of the exam based on the point value of each section and the type of questions being asked. For example, essay questions and problem-solving questions will likely take more time than multiple choice and short answer questions. Also, if the essay questions are worth the same point value as the multiple choice questions, then you will need to allow equal time for both. Once you have budgeted your time wisely, start by answering all the questions from each section that you can answer fairly easily. Once this is done, return to the more challenging questions that you have left unanswered. Starting with the easy questions will help to lower your anxiety, making you more relaxed when you come back to tackle the harder questions. Also, if you do happen to run out of time, this 2-part approach prevents you from leaving any questions blank that you know the answers to. A very common type of exam question in many courses is multiple choice. While most students are familiar with multiple choice questions, they are often surprised to find that at the university level, the questions are often applied and based on their ability to analyze scenarios. To do well on these types of questions, it's important to approach them in a strategic manner. Start by carefully reading the question, the scenario, and the possible answers. Once you are clear about what is being asked, you can then underline the relevant components of the scenario so they stand out. If you take a look at this example, you will see that this question is about the influence genetics and socialization have on the development of mental illness. Consequently, any information related to the latter has been underlined. Now all the key components of the scenario are underlined, read all the options one at a time, treating each one as if it were a true-false statement. If you are not sure if an option is true or false, put a question mark by it. This approach ensures that you think about each option carefully and make a decision without being influenced by the other options. If you only indicate one option to be true, then mark the option and move on. If you have two options that are indicated as true, or two that you have question marks by, then leave the question and return to it later. When you leave a question and return to it later, we call this using an assisted response. The value of using an assisted response is threefold. First, other questions in the exam might help trigger previously repressed information. Second, while answering other questions, the brain has more time to search for the missing information. And finally, when you return to an earlier question, you often return with a fresh perspective and a different way of thinking. As well as multiple choice questions, questions that require a written response are also very common at the university level. Whether you are writing one paragraph or a full essay, the following strategies will ensure you provide a quality response. First, make sure you read and analyze the question carefully. This starts by identifying the key directive words. These are words like compare, explain, and evaluate, and tell you exactly what you need to write about in relation to the topic. When reading the questions, it's also important to note how many parts there are. Many essay-type questions will be multifaceted and will require you to write about more than one thing. In the example given, you will notice that there are in fact three parts to this question. 1. Explain the 5 characteristics of quality research. 2. Explain how biases might influence the outcome of a study. And 3. Explain how bias in a study can be reduced. Once you are clear on what exactly the question is asking, it's really important that you plan your answer and make an outline before you begin. Taking the time to make a brief outline will help you to think through and organize your answer, will ensure you include all the key points you wish to make, and will prevent any part of the question from being missed. Also, if you run out of time on a question, you might get part marks for showing what you would have included in your answer if time permitted. When you are ready to write your answer, make sure you write clearly and concisely so your teacher knows what you're trying to say. First, start each paragraph with a topic sentence. This is an opening sentence that makes it clear what you will be writing about in the paragraph. Second, when expressing your thoughts and ideas, be sure to use clear and simple language. This is not a time to dazzle your instructor with your extensive vocabulary. Third, when appropriate, be sure to use the terminology of the course in your answer. This shows that as well as mastering the key concepts, you have also mastered the language of the course. Fourth, when you feel your answer is complete, end with a concluding sentence. This sentence should sum up for your reader the main points and include your final thoughts and conclusions about the topic. Finally, try and leave a few minutes at the end to proofread your answer. When you're nervous and writing quickly, it's easy to make careless grammar, punctuation, and spelling mistakes. Reading your answer over carefully enables you to catch and correct these types of errors. In closing, if you need any additional help with your exam writing strategies, please make an appointment with the Learning Specialist by calling 604-984-1744 or by visiting the Counselling and Learning Support Department in Birch 267.